Hello and welcome to Subscribe Reviews. I am Dragolf and I'm joined here by Jay Holland.
So
Yeah, and we're doing another week of Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier. The second episode, 2 out of 6, and the Star Spangled Man. And this episode does pick up with where it left off, where we got the reveal of the new Captain America, and we see him at his high school about to go on Good Morning America, which is owned by Disney. Yeah. And we see, like, I think probably his someone that he probably dated, his high school sweetheart, and they do some weird hand thing and not kiss lip to lip. I'm like, oh man, he had to sacrifice that love, probably. And then his wingman, his sidekick, which we find out his name later, and then they're giving him a prep talk before he goes out to the show, and it seems eerily like Steve Rogers when he talks about, oh, I don't like the handshaking, all this stuff. And he was like, no, yeah, that's part of the job. And he says, yep. But they're also seem like people that just are just given an honest chance to be Captain America. So I was like, all right, this guy doesn't seem that bad.
yeah, so they start out, like you said, with him having that pep talk and really making him seem sympathetic. Like like at first, I'm like, he's really not a bad guy. I could kind of identify with him. Like he doesn't want to, live up to this image where like he has to be perfect. He has to do all these press conferences and press runs, shaking hands, like he says, and greeting people in suits. But as the episode progresses, we see that he really is a douchebag. So
yeah, and then like also because he's not the star of the show, but I was like, all right, I'm gonna give him an honest chance. Like there was already rumors throughout the weeks of who he is. I was like, well, there's nothing official yet. You can't just say he's a bad guy out of nowhere just to make. And it did seem like you said last week, when Homelander, he's probably good at all for the cameras, but behind the scenes you start seeing that it's starting to wear on him later.
Yeah, like I don't care what nobody says, but like the boys definitely influenced the show writers' perspective for this. But I like it because like it's something that I wanted from Marvel, just like the realism aspect of it.
Yeah, and even during the interview, they say a college went to study his body. So I'm like, all right, so he probably has some of the the super soldier serum. I feel like probably not, like, let's say 25%, because as we see later in the fight with the flag smashers that he's getting his arse cooked.
Yeah, so like, well, I don't want to just jump to the fight part yet, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But then we see Bucky looking at the interview from his TV, and he's like sleeping on the floor, which is a reference that when Sam first met Steve Rogers, he's like, oh, you're sleeping on the floor, right? Because he used to give therapy for post-traumatic stress. So, but I guess he didn't see it in Bucky yet, so he probably doesn't know. But Bucky's pissed.
Yeah, I was glad that they reunited, but I was also kind of upset because my prediction, I was like saying, like, oh, they're not going to meet until episode 3, and here they are meeting the very next episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that callback to Winter Soldier, and also like the fact that they had a lot of banter between the two of them, and just seeing them clash, even though they work perfectly well as a team, but just like that perfect buddy cop kind of scenario.
Yeah. And then we get the joke about the big three.
The big three, the White Wolf joke.
The white. Oh my god! The trending. It was trending on Twitter all on Friday. The White Panther.
Little time in Wakanda, and you come out White Panther. It's actually White Wolf.
I was glad they acknowledged that.
Yeah.
It's nice. Kind of makes you wonder what else was Bucky doing in Wakanda that he officially got that title.
Yeah, we see them even when they're sneaking around. Sam's pretty good too, because he sneaks up on freaking the Winter Soldier. He's like, "Oh, did I miss anything?" No, good.
Yeah, and one thing about Sam's character is the fact that like even both of them, Bucky, like they really have a lot of good comedic timing, and that's something we haven't seen in previous Avengers movies. Like going before coming into the show, I didn't really have any like reason to really care for the show, but like now it's like the show's here. After WandaVision was so good, but like now this show is just as good. It's like watching a 6-part Avengers movie, but just like the two of these guys, and they're killing it.
Yeah, and some of it's improv because like during the interviews and when they had interview tours during the Avengers, there were a lot like this. But sometimes they, instead of like knocking each other, they would hype each other up, saying, "Oh, this guy's too good looking," or something like that. But it translates well here. They track down the Flash Smashers to a truck, and you see them lifting up heavy stuff and putting it in the truck. I was like, "Oh yeah, they're strong as hell."
Yeah, they real.
and then they finally chase the truck, and then I think when the soldier gets into the truck, and he said, "Oh, there's a kidnapped girl," and it turns out, she's one of them. Kicks him square in the chest.
Yeah, she wasn't like held hostage in that truck. She was clearly just in the truck alone. And like to even go back to right before the action scene where Falcon is telling Bucky like, "Hey, there's more than 2 people over there. Like, don't push." It kind of reminded me of Warzone, where it's like you have that one teammate that sees somebody's like, "Oh, he's right there. Get him." Like, no, there's a whole team. Let's do recon first. And Red Wing scouts and sees that it's actually 4 people. And at the time, they still don't know they have super strength. So, like, imagine like them trying to fight these guys right then and there. And like,
what would have happened? Yeah, that's true.
that one arm can only do so much.
Yeah, he's probably so used to like overpowering people. He's like, "All right, let's just go in.
Yeah,
these ain't people to play around with. So. Yeah,
but I love the fight scene. Just Falcon and Bucky fighting, and then we saw like new Captain America show up, and like that felt like very Avengers-ish. Like,
yeah, and then when he was wielding the shield pretty well, even though
catching it. And then he almost hit Bucky with it, so Bucky's like looking at him. And then the second time, it almost hits Bucky, like he grabs it and gives it to him, like, "Hey, like, watch."
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do anything fancy like Steve Rogers, where he hits like two, but he just straight up shots. But sometimes you need the basics just to. And I could see maybe later if he gets more juiced up, we'll see if he does more things with it, or he just needs experience with infield experience with the shield. So.
Yeah, and it's still unclear. Like he says in the opening scene with him that he doesn't have any powers, but like, is he telling the truth, or will he eventually get powers?
Yeah. Sam saves Bucky from underneath the truck, and they roll over on each other, and they're like, "Oh, come on, get off me!" And then they start walking back, and the other 2 try to pick him up in a truck, and then tell him, "Come on, we got to work together." And you see the parallels of the sidekick and the main team.
There's always a black sidekick. Like, in all these superhero movies, like Iron Man has a black sidekick.
Yeah. Speaking of black sidekick, the argument with the new U.S. agent and Battlestar, the guy.
Battlestar,
yeah.
Pockets.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen that actor somewhere before and his voice. I'm like, oh, it's like, where have I seen him before? But
like, I was glad that Buck finally, like, when he said the kind of same joke that I had in my head, where like the guy's name was so forgettable. He kept asking him what was his name, because I already had forgot his name once he said it. I'm like, what's his name again? And he's like, "Oh, it's Hopkins." And then he's like, "You can call me Battlescar or whatever." And it's like,
okay.
I can remember Battlescar before I can remember this guy.
Yeah, even US, like you were saying about Black Psychic, the new Captain America is like, Captain America always needs a wingman, and he's like, "Oh, it's always that last line." And Sam had to leave. I was like, fair, that's fair. Bucky tells Sam, "We gotta visit this guy. He might have information about how the Flag Smasher got juiced up." So and they go to like this hood ass area, and then while they're walking there, Sam talks to a kid. "Oh, you're Black Falcon."
Oh yeah, Black Falcon.
And,
he's like, "Well, since you're a kid and you're black, are you Black Kid?"
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, this is good, because like not every black hero has to be black something. Like, it was a funny joke. I was dying for a minute. So And then we see Patriot from when they go up to the door and they're trying to ask to see this special guy.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if they're gonna like reintroduce him later on with like being a hero or whatever, a new Avenger. But we see the original. Can we call him the original?
Yeah, the
Captain
original.
America?
Yeah, the Captain America.
And he's talking about how like after he was done being a hero, they locked him up, drugged him, ran tests on him, and treated him like an inmate. You know, he has every right to be upset. Honestly.
Yeah, because they're trying to reproduce the serum probably, and Steve Rogers was campaigned, and then they lost him, so they're probably like, oh, we can't lose this guy, so we're gonna, and then they kept them in secret too, so because they already put Steve Rogers out there in the limelight, so people already knew about him, but they didn't know about this guy. So, and then even Hydra experimented. He's like, even your people weren't done with it. I was like, damn.
Yeah, because again, like Cap had that whole promo run, and you know he didn't have any. He was just Captain America and straight to the battlefield. He didn't have like the public's support because they didn't know who he was or that he even existed.
Yeah. Well, without
even Cap had no idea this guy existed.
Yeah, and then he gets mad and tells him to leave. He throws the tuna can, it splits the wall, and we see the young dude. You know, they are setting up the young Avengers but when they start talking about it, because Sam never knew about a black Captain America, and he's arguing with Bucky in the streets, and cops come in. And they're about to shoot first, ask questions later, until they realize he's Falcon, and it just hits hits home even more for Sam.
Yeah, like without the wings and the visor, like he's just a black guy, and because he's an Avenger, it's like you think the public doesn't look at the color, but they do. It's like he's still an African American guy. At the end of the day, so when that uniform comes off, he still has to deal with the same problems and issues like other African Americans are facing. And I was curious to see where they were going to go further with this, because again, I've been kind of skeptical. Like I like the talk about race inside of the show with Falcon, but it's like he's literally been Captain America's wingman, no pun intended, for like years. So like to go back to the last episode when I said I had an issue with him saying like he knows how to talk to these white people, and you've been pretty much talking to white people this whole time as Sidekick, but without Cap and that Avenger symbol, you're just another black guy to them.
Yeah. So. And some people forgot about you because of the 5-year skip, or so it's hard. So they end up arresting Bucky because he missed his therapy session, and then we end up seeing the therapist again, and she's like, "Oh no, you're coming this time, Sam." And they do the couples therapy thing where they get real close, leg to leg.
And then they have the staring contest.
Yeah, the staring
again,
contest.
they're just competitive.
Yeah, and then we get a real tender moment where Buck is saying, "Oh, why?" Well, Sam is asking Buck why is he upset that he gave up the shield when it's not his response. It wasn't him. It wasn't up to him to decide. And he was like, "Oh, if Steve was wrong about you,
he was wrong about me."
Yeah, I was like, "Damn."
Because like when you think about it now, it's like the whole saga between Cap and Bucky was Cap's fight to say like, hey, he's not really a bad person. He was brainwashed. I know this guy. I grew up with him. He's my best friend. He can change. He can get back regular. There's hope for him. And to go back to what Bucky said, if Cap was wrong about Falcon being the right person to take up the mantle and be Captain America going forward, then Cap could be wrong about him being this person that can change. And if he can't change, what does that mean for him? Does he go back to being an assassin, or what is his purpose in life? Like he's been a hero, so like it's an identity crisis basically. That moment.
And then because like Cap started whole Civil War, and then they had to be 2 years on the run. And it started with Bucky trying to fight for his friend. So
Like,
I'm sure
they
that
fought
weighs heavy on him.
Iron Man, they fought Spider-Man, they fought
Yeah.
Black Panther. Like, if all that was wrong, what was it all for?
And the new Captain America waiting outside for them on the police car, and that's when you start seeing the real eeriness of
Yeah.
the true person. He's like, all right, if you don't want to work with me, then stay out of my way. But the way he said, any hero would say that, but the way he said it was very eerie, was very Homelanderish.
It was eerie, but it was also kind of justified because,
Mhm.
like, from his point of view, it was like, I tried working with
Yeah.
you guys,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you didn't want to cooperate with us, and we are the government, so
Yeah.
don't cross us.
Yeah, I think that's when they told him, "Oh, yeah, the reason how we found out was because we
Red
were
Wing, yeah.
Red Wing. We were in there." And I was like, "Oh, Bucky was right, not to trust Red Wing." But I think then we see the Flag Smashers trying to fly away, and then one dude sacrificed himself. I'm like, you could have done better than that. You could have hid in the shadows. You didn't have to run up to them. I think.
Oh, I thought the same thing. Like, you could have just knocked it over and then hit somewhere, and then I don't
Yeah.
know, threw a
Gotta
car
do
at them or
some,
something.
try to
Yeah.
attempt to do some guerrilla tactics at least. But he's probably untrained. Just good.
Yeah, he's definitely not the brains of that operation.
Yeah. And then you see, then they talk about their plan, what to do next, Sam and Bucky, and they're like, we got to talk to Zemo. And I was like, ooh. And you hear the orchestra, you see the chess piece. I'm like, ooh, here we go. But,
Yeah, I'm waiting for that Zemo episode and see where
Zemo. Yeah.
that takes us.
That was a pretty good episode. We see their interactions of Falcon and Winter Soldier really come together this right now, and then we get the reveal of the original Super Soldier, and how this new Captain America is doing. It was like a solid 7 for me. I mean, I did like the jokes, White Panther, and how it was trending. It was funny, but
Yeah, I gotta give
solid
it
episode.
what would I give it? Because I gave last
7.5.
episode a 7 or 8.
I think
I
8.
I would
Yeah.
give this one another 8 then, like an 8.5.
Yeah.
Because the comedy was good, the action was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't really ask for more. I think, like, not to talk about DC, which should be his own video, but like, if DC did their shows like this, like, I know it's a bigger budget, but it would do justice for Flash and Black Lightning and Superman and everything else they have going for them. Like, it really feels like you're watching a movie, but it's just a show.
Yeah. Yeah. They're stuck in that CW bubble right now.
Yeah.
But all right. But yeah, this will do it for this week of Subscribe Reviews. We will be back next week for the 3rd episode. Please tell us what you think of this one. Like, comment, and subscribe. Again, you can find us on Camp Nas YouTube page. And I am Dragolf, and this is Jay Holland, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.